All right. So, Radha Govind Prabhu, are you there? Okay, so we'll begin this session. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिस्वरूपदामोदर स्वामिन् इति नामिनि नमस्सद्भक्तमणि मणिपुरोद्भवाय च श्रीला प्रभुपादलशतवाणी प्रचारिणे रताय ते नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्येश्वरम् हरे कृष्णा। Sorry for the slightly late start. Actually, the host had not joined in, so somehow I got the host key and I could start the recording also. So, welcome everyone today on behalf of.
Sorry, Prabhu, I was traveling.
Acha.
I'm in travel. I'm going to Bhubaneswar.
Okay, bro,
So,
no problem. I somehow searched the
no
host key
problem.
and then I clicked on the host key because otherwise I was not able to record, on the laptop.
Okay,
It was only
so,
showing recording in the cloud. Never mind. So, welcome everyone on behalf of Bhaktivedanta Institute. Today is a very, very auspicious day, and Bhaktivedanta Institute has instructed me to serve the class today with the glories of Srila Prabhupada because today is the 129th appearance year or appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, the great Acharya. And we know that today is also another auspicious day. That is it's called Nandotsav. Yesterday we celebrated Janmashtami. I'm sure all of you must have really had a wonderful celebration late night, observing the birth of Lord Krishna. So today is Nandotsav. That means Nandotsav is a festival that is celebrated by the entire Nandagram. And Nandotsav also signifies the joyness that the entire gram experienced with the birth of the of Lord. And Nanda Maharaj or Nanda Baba, he as he is known to be very very charitable, magnanimous, he uses this particular joyous occasion to distribute cows and other sort of gifts to the various brahmanas of the village. So, in fact, today in Vrindavan, if you go to Radha Raman temple, there'll be Wonderful, wonderful, unbelievable celebrations. We had the occasion of going there a few times. Of course, this year we are stuck in Mumbai. We couldn't go to Vrindavan for Janmashtami, but otherwise, last almost 12 years, we were always there for Janmashtami. So in Radharaman temple, they celebrate in a very unique way, you know. If you remember the layout of Radharaman temple inside, you know, there's a balcony on the top, and the management people of the temple, they stay there. Most of the pujaris and their families, they stay there. So what they do is when the devotees they come to take darshan, without the knowledge of the devotees, from the top they pour buckets and buckets of, you know, water, sometimes even yogurt. Very slippery. It becomes very slippery, but it's fun. And then occasionally they'll also throw some gift items like small toys, which are meant to be like, you know, in celebrating the entire occasion. And people will grab the toys, whatever comes. Like there'll be some dolls, there'll be some that thing that makes sound tum 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 like that. So we collected few, and then you know, we have it proudly. We have it in our possession also. That's really fun. But for us, ISKCON devotees and in general for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, today we really take the occasion to remember Srila Prabhupada and his contribution to the entire humanity, because it is unparalleled. How much ever we try to, you know, speak or glorify him, it is just like showing a torch in front of sunlight or sun. So I don't know how much I can fulfill that, but so I pray to all of you that you kindly pray and bless me today so that I'm able to speak something that is fitting for this great Mahatma, Srila Prabhupada. So let me begin by sharing the screen. I've made few slides. One second, I'm just. Is the slide visible, Prabhu? Completely?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Now I'll just have to make some adjustment here because my slides are not fully, screen is not fully visible. So let me minimize our my this also. One second. Yes, you know, in our Tamil, there is a saying, uh, Tata versus Appa, who is more merciful? Tata means grandfather, and Appa means father. So normally the child grows up playing on the lap of Tata, grandfather, and the Tata must have been strict to his son, but the Tata is very lenient to the grandson. When this all of us must have observed it in our respective homes. So here I am like a grandson for Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Guru Maharaj also, as a father, also was very merciful and continues to, you know, inspire. But here I'm trying to glorify Tata. So if I make any inadvertent mistake or something, I'm sure Tata will be more merciful and he will excuse me for that. So let's begin. September 1896. So a new sun rises in the east, marking the beginning of a new renaissance. And as the general devotees are celebrating नंद के आनंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की हाथी घोड़ा पाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की which we just discussed about the festivities that's happening in Nandagram and in general in Brajabhumi here in Bengal in Calcutta the new sun that is rising and we saw the appearance of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada our founder Acharya of ISKCON. So he was born to pure devotee. His father, Dr. Sri Gaur Mohan De, was also a very well respected person, and his wife Srimati Rajini Devi. So he was born in the famous place. Now it is being acquired by ISKCON. So it was a place under a jackfruit tree. It is said that he was born there and Harrison Road. And after several years of struggle, this place has been now acquired by ISKCON. So it is good that it is in the position of where it belongs, it should belong. Otherwise, who knows? Maybe some builder might take and then would have converted that into a mega shopping complex or multiplex and so on and so forth. But at least now it is preserved. So, what was the purpose of his appearance? So, so it is generally uh, felt that he has appeared in this world to fulfill the prophecies of Srila Vyasadeva, then Mahaprabhu himself, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. How Vyasadeva? Because Srila Vyasadeva has stated in Padma Puran that Bhakti Devi, after being rejuvenated in Vrindavan, would be carried to far off place in the Western world. So this is clearly mentioned in Padma Puran, and so that is one prophecy that has been clearly fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada. And then Mahaprabhu, while speaking to Narad Muni in Chaitanya Mangala, it is mentioned that even if a sinful person tries to hide by going to a far off country, my devotee general will go to that distant place and he will find him and he will distribute the love of God to him. Wow. So this was the second prophecy, and then Mahaprabhu himself, the Supreme Personal of Godhead, has informed Narad Muni, and this is documented in Chaitanya Mangala, and this also was fulfilled. And then, of course, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Navdeep Dham Mahatmya, has mentioned that a great Acharya will soon appear, and he will spread the chanting and glories of the holy name all over the world. So this also has been fulfilled. So therefore, we can say that to fulfill the prophecies of these great personalities, Vyasadeva was the literary incarnation of the Lord. Then Lord Chaitanya, Supreme Personality of God Himself. So Lord is declaring all these things. So therefore, we can say that, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also, the lineage is from the spiritual world. So we can say that this formed the foundation of the revival or the revitalization of Bhagavad culture for the sake of paropakar of mankind. भारतीय भूमि ते होइले मनुष्य जन्म जारा जन्म सार्थका करो करी करो परोपकार. So this is the object of any person who is born in the holy land of Bharat Bhumi, and this has been aptly fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada. Now let us see the first glimpse of the relationship between disciple and spiritual master. In this case, Srila Prabhupada and his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So the first meeting itself was very, very momentous meeting, and this happened in 1922 when Prabhupada was hardly 26 years old, and this happened in Calcutta. So Prabhupada was given the name of Abhay Charan by his parents, Abhay Charan De. So Gauramohan De's son is Abhay Charan De. So when Abhay Charan De and His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur met, the first attraction, spontaneous between both of them amongst the assembly of so many people was that eye to eye, Acharya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw Abhay Charna De, Abhay Charna Abhay De. And then immediately he says that why don't you represent Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message to the entire world? Why don't you present it to the entire world? Hmm? You're so good in English. Why don't you go and present to the Western world? So the first reaction of Abhay Charande was, as usual, because he was at that time focusing more on the freedom for India, freedom movement. So he said quite openly and boldly to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who will hear your Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message? We are still a very much like a dependent country. We are like a slave in front of Britishers. So how can we spread this kind of our culture when we are under somebody's rule? So at that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, in his own way, in a very grave voice, said, Krishna consciousness does not need to wait for Indian politics to change. It is not connected with Indian politics at all. Krishna consciousness is very, very important, and it is exclusively important. So these were his words. And therefore, he says it cannot wait for the political change. Politics will happen. Today, somebody will rule, tomorrow, somebody will rule, and that somebody who ruled yesterday will be forgotten. These are all temporary. But Krishna consciousness is something that is eternal reality. It is something that is permanent. So, therefore, our focus should be on something that is going to help humanity at large in a long term, not short term. And therefore, only Krishna consciousness can help. So, when Prabhupada heard this profound words from his spiritual master, he got very much impressed. And thus, he decided that day he decided that he will accept Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as his guru. And over a period of time, he became very dear to his guru. And because his guru also being a very pure soul, he could see the future of Abhay Charande. And he felt that this boy has got a very bright spiritual future and he can contribute a lot for the Krishna conscious movement. So, so he was very, very pleased. And therefore, in fact, on one occasion, when his uh, associates, that is, the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, uh, were suggesting that to Prabhupada that he must move to the ashram because he was a grasta and he was staying separately outside. So he must move to the ashram so that he can serve the Gaudiya Math's preaching much better. So Bhakti Siddhanta Swami said, don't worry, you people should not worry, leave him alone. When the time comes, he will show the world what he is made of. So that was the kind of confidence uh, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami had on Prabhupada. On another occasion, because Abhay Charan's English was very good, he was a very polished person, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami instructed the editor of the magazine, which was under publication that time, called Harmonist. Whatever Abhay Babu wants to publish, he was on the Abhay Babu. Whatever Abhay Babu wants to publish, please allow him to publish. Don't even come to me. But whatever article he is giving, you can go and publish. And then in 1936, just 1 year before the departure of Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, he made another bold prediction to Srila Prabhupada, to Abhay Charan. He said, I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to people who will turn yourself. I mean, you will turn yourself into a very good English preacher. So this was the bold prediction that Bhakti Siddhanta Swami made. More beyond a prediction, basically, he could see the reality that was going to happen in this boy. So that was the kind of relationship, a bond that Abhay Charan or Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, had with his Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada. So this was the early stages of his life. And then you see something very interesting here. After that meeting, momentous meeting with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in 1922, every 11 years, every 11 years, something significant has happened in Srila Prabhupada's life. So 1922, he met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami for the first time. 11 years later, 1933, he got initiated and he became Abhay Charna Ravinda Das. This happened in Allahabad. Then 1944, after another 11 years, he started Back to Godhead magazine. 1955, after another 11 years, he moved to Vrindavan to begin his real journey to go to the West. 10 years he was meditating there in Vrindavan, under in the Radha Damodar temple. And he was seeking the blessings of Rupa Goswami. And then after 10 years, 1965, he went to US, but on the 11th year after that, 1966, he established ISKCON. And 1977, again after 11 years, he left the planet. You see, exactly 11 years after 1922, some significant things he has done. Not only that, in a very short time of just around, say, 11 years from 1968 to 1977, 490 morning walks were recorded. 1914, no jokes, 1914 lectures were recorded between 1966 to 1977. 907 conversations, room conversations, then 62 interviews, and 6,579 letters were posted by Srila Prabhupada. And 108 temples were established in that period. So Prabhupada laid a lot of stress on letters. He never depended on, of course, mobile phones were not there, but the regular phones were there. During those days, one can make uh, like calls, international calls were made by trunk call, they used to say. But Prabhupada never liked this to use phone at that time. He depended upon letter and he was expressing everything in letter so that it is documented in black and white. He knows the importance of letters, that even if he is not there, these letters will represent him in writing. That's why he made a famous statement, I continue to live through my books. And then, of course, this famous ticket, which has saved all our lives, this ticket of Jaladut travel from Kolkata Harbor to Boston Commonwealth Pier Harbor. So this ticket was issued by the Scindia Steam Navigation Company, Bombay. It was issued on 4th August 1965, and Prabhupada embarked upon a journey to fulfill his Guru's mission and transform the fallen souls in the Western world, as per Jaladut diary. Prabhupada maintained a diary when he was traveling called as Jaladut diary. And in that, everything he has mentioned, of course, this diary was discovered by one disciple much, much later. It was not known at that time. But all his events from the time he decided to go to the West and what struggles he underwent, and then what struggles he underwent within the Jaladut, everything is documented till the time he comes out at the Boston Harbor. So he boarded the cargo ship Jaladut on 13th August. So just 4 days back, you can say today is 17th August. So 13th August 1965. So 60 years are over. At 9 a.m. Calcutta, he boarded this Jaladut ship for Boston Commonwealth Pier with a mission to propagate Krishna consciousness to the entire world. So for him, this was the mission of his life and soul. My Guru Maharaj is instructed, so I'm carrying this message with me in my heart. And if I'm existing, if ever I exist, I'll just exist to fulfill this mission, life and death. And what he carried with me? Just a suitcase, an umbrella, and a supply of dry cereal. And just $7, dear devotees. Can you believe it? Just $7, which is at that time was worth about 40 rupees. Today it is close to around 700 rupees, maybe 650 rupees. At that time it was worth only 40 rupees. And he carried several boxes of books which he had printed in Delhi. So his basically, you can see, bare minimum, nothing. I mean, how he is going to sustain, nothing is known. But he is just going there because it's a guru's instruction. And then he navigated through this ocean. Ocean journey, as we know, can be very, very taxing. And what to speak at an advanced age, you know, he was almost nearing 70 years at that time, and he suffered two attacks because of the seasickness and the rough seas, because he was given a cabin inside. It's a cargo ship. It's not a passenger ship. It's a cargo ship, and there was just the small cabin for him to travel. And then, of course, Ajay Pandya was a captain, and his wife was there. And when the sea gets rough, the cabin also goes back and forth. So all that he has endured for all of us. And finally, after 37 days, he reached the Boston Commonwealth Pier port on 19 September 1965. So this was such a physically demanding journey for him. But in the process, it was highly divinely revealing for Srila Prabhupada. Because Krishna came in the dream. He saw Krishna because when he suffered the attack, he actually wrote a poem. I don't know anything how I'm going to go there and preach to the people in the West who have absolutely no idea of what I'm going to speak. And I don't know their language properly. How will they understand my Bengali accent when I speak also? So all this was going on. I'm an old man. How long will I live? I already have suffered two attacks, and Krishna, you have to protect me. And whatever, Krishna, I'm like a puppet in front of you. Whatever you make out of me, I'll do. If you want me to dance, I will dance. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. So his concern was just Krishna. How will I make these people understand? How will I give them this knowledge of Krishna conscious? How will I please my Guru Maharaj? Because if something happens to me, how I'll show my face to my Guru Maharaj? So all these things were actually worrying him, and he was not worried about anything else. He was not even worried about his health. So it was virtually like a mission impossible, a mission to liberate these fallen souls on the West, who were like known as hippies. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had told him, you should go there and preach, because if you don't do that, if not today, tomorrow that culture will come to East also in India, and the entire world will become hippies. So stop it right now. Go and give the message of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. So therefore, this mission was highly impossible, and he had to endure a lot of pain, distress, and obstacle after obstacle. During those days, a lot of Indians preferred to go to London. So Prabhupada was also thinking whether should I go to London, because Bhakti Siddhanta Swami has said go to the West. So West also means London. But but since Prabhupada knew that London also, whatever happens in America, that comes to London and then it comes to India. So he said, I'll go to the root place where things are happening in a very bad way, and I will fulfill my guru's, I'll try to fulfill my guru's mission. So then he decided to proceed with the instructions, carrying the instructions in his heart, his soul, and then so the instruction was given in somewhere around 1926, 25, 26. So for 40 years, Prabhupada wanted to fulfill. And finally, in 1955, Prabhupada decided enough of my family life, enough of my grahastha, and he took up the Vanaprastha life. And then, because he was a very, very successful family man, grahastha, He managed his business very well. He was in the pharma drugs dealership, and he did it very well. And he managed his family. He raised his children also quite well. But then this was bothering him, that how do I fulfill? And then when he went to Vrindavan, 10 years of tapasya at Radha Damodar temple with no money. And he was thinking constantly how I should consider this. And then one after another, he automatically, it was revealed to him. So these were the several obstacles that he had to face. First thing was, now he has to go, all right, he has decided, but to go, you need a sponsor. So he did not have any sponsor. He did not know anybody in USA who could invite him. So fortunately, he met in Mathura. He met one businessman by the name Mathura Prasad Agarwal, and he was a businessman in Agra. So when he just met accidentally, and he just expressed his interest, my Guru Maharaj has given me his instruction. Immediately, Mathura Prasad Agarwal said, "Oh, no problem. I can arrange for a sponsorship for you. My son Gopal Agarwal works in Pennsylvania, and I'll just talk to him. I'll write a message to him, and he will arrange for his sponsorship." And this discussion happened in February. And then obstacle two was, apart from sponsorship, he needed a NOC from Ministry of External Affairs. During those days, any traveling sadhus, they needed a Ministry of External Affairs, because the ministry government has to certify that somebody is going to take care of you there. Otherwise, you cannot be going there and depend upon, yourself. You have to have a proper backing. How you are going to sustain yourself in the Western country? Otherwise, until you prove that through your bank account details, the ministry will not give a NOC. So that was another obstacle. Then, of course, he did not have passport. Then he did not have US visa, and there was something called as a P form. And the P form had to be obtained from State Bank of India. So this P form is a like a document which sort of, uh, it's a declaration that, you will not. It shows about your background, what you are going to do, and then it will also sort of give an assurance to the Indian government that you will not be a liability on the Western world or in the country that you are traveling. So they will study your background, and then they will issue the P form. And it's their prerogative whether to give the P form or not. And for that, again, sponsorship is required. And finally, what is required is ticket to travel. He did not have the ticket also. So one by one, he was thinking how to overcome these obstacles, and everything was very easily, by the mercy of Krishna, by mercy of his Guru, it got fully fulfilled. The sponsorship came from Gopal Agarwal, and then suddenly in April he got a call from the ministry saying that his NOC is available, is ready, and they are dispatching it. Then his passport also was ready within a short time. One person helped him to get the passport through some influence, and then he could get the US visa also in a short time. So by July, his US visa has also come. And then there was a slight hurdle to get the P form, because Mr. Matachari basically was not willing to give the P form to him, after, even though the first four obstacles have been cleared. But Mr. Matachari said that you are an old man. And second thing he said was, your sponsorship has come from an individual, Agarwal. It has not come from an institution. Therefore, I refuse to give you. So Prabhupada did not give up any hope. He said, "Oh, sorry, you cannot do that. All my documents are ready. Please don't do that." Prabhupada, was shattered, but he begged before him. But Mr. Matachari said, "I'm sorry, I'm helpless." Then Prabhupada said, "Okay, can I convince your boss, who is the chief of State Bank of India? Can you give me his appointment, please?" So Mr. Matachari was kind enough to give his appointment, and then he met Mr. Rao. And Rao just heard him for 2 minutes and he said, I'm approving your P form. Nothing, no questions asked. Immediately it was approved. And then just when Prabhupada thought that everything is done, and to get the ticket, he had already spoken to Choksi, the secretary of Sumati Morarji, the owner of Scindia Shipping Company, for the ticket. He thought it was just a formality because he has been talking to them for 3 to 4 months. Suddenly, Mr. Choksi said that, sorry, sir, we are not in a position to issue the ticket because we consider that you're too old to travel at this age and to withstand the rigors of the ocean travel. And plus, when you go to US, Mrs. Morarji feels that it is too cold and you cannot sustain the weather. You may not come back again. So therefore, I'm sorry, we cannot. Again, Prabhupada adopted the same strategy. He said, please don't do this. You give me a hearing with Mrs. Sumati Morarji directly. And somehow Mr. Choksi went and explained to Sumati Morarji that Swamiji wants to meet you and he's very reluctant to go and he's not listening to me. So Sumati Morarji gave him a hearing. So she tried her best to tell him in his own goodness, for his own good, that Swamiji, you are too old. Why don't you do preaching here in Vrindavan, in Bombay? There's so many people. He said, no, I want to go to America, not because I want to see America, but because I want to fulfill my Guru Maharaj's desire and his instructions. Only for that purpose I want to go. So please do not stop me. So immediately Sumati Maharajji, accepted his plea and she issued the ticket which we saw in the previous slide. And this is how the obstacle after obstacle came and he has done. These are all, why I'm building it up, because these are all sacrifice. Many a times we know what Prabhupada has done for ISKCON, but you see the build up, what he has done. So much of sacrifice that we cannot even think. Most of us, when we get one or two obstacles, we give up and we try some other route and then we say, okay, it's okay, fine. But here you can see that Guru's instruction is for him everything. I mean, otherwise there is no purpose of existence. That is what actually Srila Prabhupada did. And therefore, Sumati Morarji, Mathura Prasad Agarwal's poised gesture to Krishna's most important representative and the kindness that both Gopal and Sally Agarwal showed to him in Butler, Pennsylvania, are certainly not little things. They're just not little things. But indeed, they're the consequences of these gracious acts which prove out to be monumental. So, what they did was really monumental things. So, this is actually the background, what happened. And then, of course, before Srila Prabhupada left, for 10 years, actually, Prabhupada is to regularly come to Advaita Bhavan. Advaita Bhavan is a place where Mahaprabhu, Nityan Prabhu, and Srila Advaita Acharya, they used to sit and chalk out strategies of how to spread Krishna consciousness. So this was a very sacred place, Advaita Bhavan. And Prabhupada had a sanctity for that place and used to come regularly once in a month. And one Pujari who was associated with Prabhupada at that time in Advaita Bhavan, who knew him from the 40s and 50s, narrated some story which I am presenting very briefly. He has mentioned that one Bengali Grasta, meaning our Srila Prabhupada, used to visit regularly in the 40s and 50s once in a month. So once in a month, Prabhupada used to go there. And what he would do, he would chant Harinam very, very deeply. With full concentration, he will chant. And not only that, this Pujari noticed that when Srila Prabhupada was chanting, his eyes would be filled with a lot of tears. This is in 40s and 50s. And then suddenly one day, he stopped coming for a few years after that. And suddenly he came in August 1965. By that time, this Pujari noticed that he was no more a Grasta, but he was a sannyasi in a saffron cloth. But he recognized him because he sat in the same place. Prabhupada had a particular place to sit and chant. He came, he sat there, and again he started weeping while chanting. So the Pujari recognized him. And then he realized that he has changed his ashram now. And then, of course, at that time, when he met this Pujari, so Prabhupada took his blessings and he told the Pujari that please bless me that because I'm going to leave India very soon. My Guru Maharaj has instructed me to go to the West and I'm going for preaching purpose to spread the names of Krishna consciousness, to give them the message of Krishna consciousness to the West. And therefore I'm going to. So the Pujari understood and he blessed him. Now, after a few years, much after a few years, now this is after Srila Prabhupada even left. Okay, this is after 1977. What happened was few Vaishnavas, white Vaishnavas, that means from the West, they came to the same Advaita Bhavan in dhoti, in sari, Prabhuji's, Mataji's and all. And they were regularly coming to Advaita Bhavan along with Back to Godhead magazine. So suddenly what happened, and they were giving this magazine to the Pujari also. So suddenly, when he took this magazine, he saw the photo of Bhaktivedanta Swami. And looking at that photo, immediately this Pujari recognized, oh, he's my friend, Abhay Babu. Oh, he has become a sannyasi. And he was telling me that he has to go to the West and he's going to preach. Oh, these are the disciples. My God, what a good fortune. He has fulfilled all his guru's desires. Then he asked them, where is he now? And they said, no, he has already left this planet. So the Pujari was recollecting all the discussions that he had in the 40s and the 50s and also as late as 1965. And then when he saw this magazine, he could not hold this his joy and the tears. And he straight away went to Mayapur and then he shared with the entire disciples of Prabhupada in the Mayapur temple. And he said that this is, I know your Guru very closely and I have interacted with him. And this is his history. And everybody enjoyed hearing this story about Srila Prabhupada because till that time it was not known about Prabhupada's visit to this Advaita Bhavan. And this Pujari narrated everything. So Prabhupada's life is completely an epitome of determination and tolerance. How you obtained the sponsorship from Gopal Agarwal in 67 and 65, how you obtained the NOC from Ministry of External Affairs, how you obtained his passport, how you obtained the visa from US Embassy and the P form from Mr. Rao, and how he convinced Sumati Morarji for his travel, maneuvering Mr. Choksi. All this is sheer determination to fulfill just one goal, the goal of his guru. And how he tolerated. See, tolerance is a very, very important characteristic that he has demonstrated. The two attacks that he had and the seasickness. And the visa that he had got, dear devotees, it was not a lifetime visa. It was valid only for 1 month. Can you imagine now he's going to a new place with only 1 month valid visa? I mean, 1 month will just go like this. But Prabhupada achieved so many things in that 1 month. And then he had also made plan B in case if his visa doesn't get renewed. And his visa was not getting renewed. And he was asked to leave the country. So immediately the plan B, he was already thinking that no, the temple president in Montreal, he was telling that Prabhupada, why don't you come here and shift your base to Montreal? You can make Montreal as the headquarters of ISKCON. So Prabhupada was just considering that at that time a very famous man by the name Allen Ginsberg, who was a very famous American poet, and then known to everyone. He immediately arranged for this through his contacts, his extension of visa, and that's how Prabhupada could stay for a longer period. And he tolerated these hippies. I mean, tolerating is, we cannot imagine what sort of what all he underwent. He ended up cooking for the hippies, you know, and in a most filthy place where Prabhupada was living in New York, in the a place called Bowery, 26 Second Avenue Street, and where only the drug addicts used to stay. Prabhupada had a very small, dingy room in the upstairs in the first floor. He has to climb up and down every time, and he was also cooking, and he started doing kirtan in under a tree in Tompkins Square, and that's how few hippies came. They started dancing around him. Then what he impressed upon them was the prasadam that he made for them. So he cooked himself, he offered them, and then he washed his plates, their plates also. So the mercy that he showed, by tolerating their activities, he did not object to their activities because he has to convert them long-term plan. So now we'll go through some of the activities and pastimes. So when he went to USA, his first stay was in Gopal Agarwal's house. For 1 month he was there, and his wife was an American, Sally Agarwal. And there he demonstrated his innocence like a child, because Prabhupada saw so many new things for the so many new things for the first time, that he was amazed. He had never seen a vacuum cleaner, a dishwasher, a laundry washing machine, a vacuum cleaner, nothing. He had not seen any of these gadgets in India. So when Sally Agarwal was using all these gadgets, like a child, he was sitting on the sofa with his folded legs, and he was clapping his hands and he was laughing and all that, you know. And he had never seen vegetables being kept in the frozen condition in the freezer. So Sally Agarwal mentions that. So, and then Prabhupada was so far-sighted that he was thinking that how these modern gadgets can be used in Krishna's service, God's service. So he has mentioned that, and Sally Agarwal has mentioned that. And then she had a little daughter by the name Kamala, 3-year-old daughter. And she had this vision. When she saw Prabhupada, she started calling him Swami Jesus. you know so Prabhupada was so happy and used to like that girl so much that he showered lot of mercy upon that girl. So when she saw this Swamiji dressed in saffron robes, saw sannyasi robes, she said that he is Swami Jesus. So Prabhupada says, I'm really obliged to your good daughter, because she's awarding me a nice title of Swami Jesus, and that's a great honor for me, because Jesus sacrificed so much for the people, and I hope I'm able to fulfill my mission in that spirit of Jesus Christ. So that was the first thing that he remembered. That was reminiscent of that. Then, of course, the next important thing was in 1966. Prabhupada he expressed to Mukund Prabhu, at that time he was Mukund Prabhu, then he became His Holiness Mukund Goswami, that better to move out from this Bowery because it is too difficult and dirty place, and we should go for a slightly bigger place. So Mukund Prabhu, through some advertisement, spotted this famous place called as Matchless Gift. There was an ad put up there that this storefront is available for rent. And so he arranged a meeting with the owner of this Matchless Gifts, and Prabhupada had a meeting. And he mentioned that Prabhupada was an excellent businessman and excellent negotiator beyond our imagination. Because in the first meeting between Prabhupada and the owner of Matchless Gift storefront, that he said that I can give this for a rent of $180. And Prabhupada felt that was a little bit high, but there they didn't have this, like, unlike in India we negotiate for everything, we bargain for everything, whereas in US whatever rates are set, those rates are accepted. And here Swamiji wanted to adopt some methodology to negotiate with him, and before he could start the negotiation, the owner of the storefront, he said that along with the storefront, I've got a apartment also for rent. And so the storefront, he said, would be $100 per month, and the apartment would be $80. So total will be $180. So Prabhupada said it's a good idea to take both as a package. And then what Prabhupada did was something very interesting. I mean, the way Mukund Prabhu describes it is that he says that Prabhupada immediately removed his the first set of print that he carried with him, that is of Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1. He had made that into 3 volumes. Today we have got Canto 1 in, one volume, big one. But at that time it was having 3 volumes. And Prabhupada removed and handed over the copy to him. So He said, yeah, okay, fine. And he just flipped the pages and he gave it back to him. He said, no, no, this is a gift for you. So he said, oh, gift for me. And it was nicely packed also, and it looked very nice, attractive. He said, okay, I'll accept it. And then Prabhupada used the Brahmastram. Prabhupada said that these two boys, Mukunda, and then there was one more devotee, initiate devotee of Prabhupada. I forgot his name. I think Kalmati or Kalpat, something like that. He said these two boys, they were known as Carl and Michael. Mukund was Michael and Kalmati. So these two boys, Carl and Michael, are our trustees. So they were astonished. Prabhupada is introducing them as trustees. They are our trustees. So we welcome you also to become a trustee. So he was honored. The storefront owner felt, my God, first I got a gift from this holy man, and now he's making me the trustee. He said, no, no, that's fine. No, 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 you become our trustee. So he said, yes, okay, I'll become your trustee. That's really a big honor for me. And then, in a very smooth tone, as we say in India, like how you prick a pin in the banana, Prabhupada said that, all my trustees, they pay a rent of $20 a month. So you can also pay that, but it's a very small amount. So before he could answer anything, Prabhupada made him agree for that. And he said, but don't worry, you don't have to pay. You can adjust it with the rent also. So everybody was astonished the way he negotiated with him. And so that 180 became, minus 20 or whatever per month. So that was Prabhupada's style of negotiating, and it was done so nicely and so elegantly. And on another occasion, he told Mukund that why don't you go to this electricity board in New York, and then you request for a electricity power waiver, because we are a charity organization, we are registered as a charity organization. So Mukund, he was astonished. He said, Prabhupada, here we don't do that. When whatever is given by the government, you have to just pay. There's nothing like a waiver on this. So Prabhupada said, okay, just take me to the office. And Prabhupada himself went and he asked Mukund to wait outside, and he went inside and he met the chief of the person. And Mukund Prabhu says, I don't know what they discussed. But when Prabhupada came out, he said that he has agreed for the waiver. So we will not have anything to pay as power. So this was how Prabhupada actually managed, because this is all Krishna's plan. So Prabhupada, when he puts it openly, he makes people accept it automatically. He makes people accept, and that's why he's a sadhu who fulfills the, you know, whatever is given in the Shastras. Now, our Bhagavatam says what? Titikshva karunika suhrda sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanam. So these are the six qualities of the sadhu, and Prabhupada demonstrated each of these qualities, in abundance, in abundance. And so, Radha Govind Prabhu, can we extend the session, because I've got few more slides to complete. Maybe I will go for another 20 minutes. Is it okay, Radha Govind Prabhu?
Yes, so you can continue.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So
Hare
let us.
Krishna.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Your presentation is really very nice. The expressions that you are sharing are really very amazing. However, if you could finish it in 10-15 minutes, because there are other devotees also waiting. They also want to verify.
All right, Prabhu. All right. So maybe 15 minutes, I'll try to wind up. I've got, at least around matter to speak for around 25 minutes, but I'll try to rush up things, no problem. Or whatever comes in the 15 minutes, we'll try to wind up, or I'll finish my part. Thank you very much. So now we will see in each of these qualities which are mentioned in Bhagavatam, how Srila Prabhupada, through his interaction with the society, through the interaction with his own disciples, beautifully fulfilled this prediction that is mentioned in the Shastras. So first is Titikshava. So now Titikshava is tolerance. So a devotee must, while serving Krishna, must be able to tolerate any hardships. Now here Srila Prabhupada says, I had to stay in places where in the refrigerator there is meat, and I was cooking. So when I opened and I saw, oh, here there is meat. Can you imagine? Have we, any of us experienced this? I have experienced it. I have lived in Saudi Arabia. Before I took my family in 92, I have stayed in a shared apartment with some group of Egyptians and Pakistanis and all that. And I was cooking my own food in the kitchen, with a common kitchen. And when you open the fridge, everybody will have their own stuff and there will be meat and things like that. So here, Prabhupada says that when I opened the fridge, I saw meat. But what option do I have? When I consider the larger picture of fulfilling my Guru's mission, so I said, all right, Hare Krishna, that's all. So if otherwise I have to be stuck in Vrindavan, I cannot go out anywhere. So we cannot go out. If we have to, virtually outside world is hell. But when I'm doing Krishna's service, I cannot think like that. So that was one way he tolerated. Another way is we know that he tolerated the two massive attacks he got in the rough seas and the seasickness. I mean, anybody else at the age of 70 would think, enough, I'll just pack myself and go back to Vrindavan. It's very difficult. I know what it is at advanced age at 62. I'm nearing 62 now, and I know my body is what kind of difficulties I'm facing. And at 69, Prabhupada is leaving to set out on a mission. Imagine. And he don't know what is going to come, but he's already experiencing. And he's fully focused on his mission. And he, most importantly, to fulfill the mission, he tolerated the hippies. Now, dear devotees, there was something called as the some of his disciples, early disciples, they were all converts from hippies. But then to preach, they have to go to all the places. So they invited Prabhupada to one rock show in San Francisco, in 1967. And they said that there's an invitation. Prabhupada, this is a good opportunity. So Prabhupada asked, okay, if we go there, can we do some kirtan? Will they allow us to do some kirtan? They said, yes, we have taken permission. So Prabhupada said, let's go. Okay, for preaching, let's go to, even if it's the most filthy place, fallen place. And Prabhupada went there. And after doing some kirtan outside, the devotees said, Prabhupada, let's go inside to see what's going on inside. And Prabhupada was shocked. When he went inside, basically all dirty things were going on. And there was something called as a banana dance going on. Prabhupada did not know that. Some people were dancing with some yellow color, depiction on their body, and they were as if they are in some, nasha leke naach rahe the. So Prabhupada asked his disciples, "What is this?" So they said, "Prabhupada, this is called banana dance." So what is banana dance? So Prabhupada came to know for the first time that these hippies who are dancing there, they were actually peeling the bananas and the skin. I mean, the peeled skin of bananas, they were actually burning it. And when you burn the skin of the banana, it seems it gives some odor, and they get a kick, which is as much like a effect of an LSD. LSD is a famous drug at that time that the hippies were taking to get high. So they were doing these kind of things. And then the disciples told Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, now these hippies are willing to sponsor a box full of bananas for our Jagannath. So what do you suggest? So Prabhupada was in such a big mess, and he's hearing all this thing and seeing all these things. He says, "What choice do I have? I've never expected these things will happen for me in the US when I came. But for the sake of propagating the holy name, for the propagating of fulfilling my Guru's mission, I will accept, and I'll just pray that things go properly." So Prabhupada tolerated all this nonsense because he was for a higher principle. And then he met one person who came to him, and there was a famous discussion between what is stronger, chanting is stronger or counting is stronger. So one person came to him and he said, I don't believe or chanting, but I believe in counting. He said, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is more powerful than your chanting. So Prabhupada said, okay, you keep on counting, and after you're tired of counting, what you do? You will do chanting. Okay. And then Prabhupada went on to explain the power of chanting. The Hare Krishna mantra, he said it goes beyond the potency. The potency is so strong, it goes beyond our senses into the mind. and from there it enters the heart and awakens dormant Krishna consciousness. Pravishta Karna Randrena Dunoti Shamalam Krishna. After entering from the ear holes, Karna Randrena, it goes and sits into the heart, and then Dunoti Shamalam. What are the Shamalam? Anarthas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mat, Matsarya. All these things it completely washes. So this is how it did. And then that person got converted. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, he came to Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So these are all live examples that Prabhupada said, and then it got fulfilled. Then Karunikaha, merciful. So Prabhupada was so merciful that, uh, we know that he was cooking there's a kitchen you see, this is in Sally Agarwal's house, he was cooking, and he was cooking for the hippies because he knew that just by chanting and singing it will not work. So Prabhupada thought of some innovative way. He said that now I'll start cooking for them also. So he was cooking for them, and not only that, he was serving them. Not only that, he was also washing their plates. And then he said that cooking, honoring prasadam is the best way to make for preaching. Because if your stomach is full, then automatically you will hear to what I'm talking. So in this way, and then of course on one of the occasions, the devotee suggested that we can even set up a book table in a nightclub. So Prabhupada said, okay, I'm approving it, provided you people don't get influenced by them and then don't come back here. I don't want that to happen. I want you to go there and sell the books, because books are the basis. And when they read the books, then eventually will convert. So lot of devotees have got converted. I mean, a lot of hippies have got converted at that time. And that is all because of Prabhupada's, valiant efforts. And then Suhrda Sarva Dehinam, he was a real well-wisher of all. So like Krishna is a Bhakta Vatsala, we know, to Arjuna. Bhakta Vatsala, is always a favorable disposition towards a devotee, like a mother cow to its calf. So like Krishna was to Arjuna. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada was to his devotees. And the best example is our own Guru Maharaj. When he used to always say, see, Bhakta Vatsala means he is liking well-wisher to everyone, Surya Sarva Dehinam, Sarva Bhutanam. And then not only that, he is also glorifying the disciples. Very rare that, the spiritual master glorifies the disciples. Normally it's the other way around. The disciples glorify the spiritual master, but here he went to the extent of glorifying. So on one occasion, Srila Prabhupada started glorifying His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damasai Maharaj, Srila Shripad Maharaj, that because he came to know that Bhakti Swarup Damasai Maharaj had very nicely defeated Stanley Miller. Stanley Miller was propagating the theory that life comes from matter and not life. And then in one of the occasions, Srila Shripad went and challenged Stanley Miller that if I give you a bag full of peptides, amino acids, DNA, RNA, everything, would you be able to create life? And Stanley Miller said, that I do not know right now. So this is how Prabhupada said they're fooling the world. And he was so happy that he used to glorify on this particular statement. So in that sense, it was very like a Bhakta Vatsala. And that was the basis of the book of Srila Prabhupada, that life comes from life. And Prabhupada is to announce this openly, that how Krishna is to tell Arjuna, Kaunte Pradijanahi, Name Bhakta Pranashyati in Bhagavad Gita. Go and declare to the world that my devotees will never perish. So like that, Prabhupada used to tell Srila Shripad Maharaj, go and declare that life comes from life. And Prabhupada had the confidence in his disciple, Srila Shripad Maharaj, that he can go and fulfill this mission to prove that life comes from life and not matter. So that is how actually through Surda Sarva Dehinam, he demonstrated his love as Bhakta Vatsala to his disciples also. Then we come to Ajata, Shatrava and Shantaha. So Ajata Shatrava is basically no enemies, and then Shanta is always peaceful. So here, Srila Prabhupada really unlocked the secret uh, of, you know, not having any enmity, how to deal with people. In front of this one professor, one Indian professor came to one of the lectures of Srila Prabhupada in University of California, and he was bent upon arguing and arguing and arguing with Prabhupada. Whatever Srila Prabhupada said, he was giving a counter argument. And he said in front of everyone loudly, Swamiji, you are advising everyone to chant the holy name, but and kirtan, etc. But nowhere in the Vedic scriptures it is mentioned. So this is all bogus, what you're telling. Srila Prabhupada just stared at him and asked him, are you finished? No, I have further points to say. And then he went on and on. Srila Prabhupada again asked, have you finished? No, I have not finished. And again, this professor went on and on. So Prabhupada was just, tolerating. If he wanted, he could have given back also strongly. If he wanted, he could have walked away from there in displeasure. He didn't do all that. Every time he said, are you finished? And then finally he said, yes, I'm finished. So now he said, okay, you sit down. And very peacefully said, you sit down. And then Prabhupada started, explaining all these slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc., where how this Harinam Sankirtan is the root cause of devotional service. And that is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tare Madhya Sarvasreshta Nama Sankirtan Nirabrata Nama Leile Paye Premadan. So all this Srila Prabhupada nicely packaged and explained the meaning of the 16 syllables of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And he said it is not like any mundane chanting, of any mundane words. It is completely potent, encapsulated words, and it's like the right medicine for the people in Kali Yuga. And then after hearing this or whatever Prabhupada said, this professor completely melted. And then he raised his hand and said, can we have kirtan now? Jai, everybody said, Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So we can see how the situation got changed. I'm just trying to remember, reminiscent of the same situation that happened in 2004 in my Guru Maharaj's conference, Rome conference, famous conference on life and its origin. There was an occasion when the Islamic scholar and the Jew scholar, they were virtually, head-on collision with each other. And they were, virtually shouting at each other. And because Jews and Muslims, they don't get along. Islam, they don't get along. So they were in a very, very temperamental way. They were shouting and screaming and all that. And we could see that the tempers were flaring up. And later on, Guru Maharaj came on the dais and he just sang Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Para. So the entire thing he sang, and the whole atmosphere got, calmed down and peace prevailed. And after that, the conference, the next 3 days, the conference was held so beautifully. So this is what actually the empowerment of the Guru, the disciple does. And the same way, so what Prabhupada has done here is something extraordinary, and that is worth mentioning. Then finally, sadhava. Sadhava means somebody who is abiding by the scriptures. So when we think of sadhava, so we think of, Rupa Goswami has given us a lot of theory. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchate, in very famous verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this theory was actually put into practice. If you see Prabhupada, whatever Prabhupada has done, everything appeared a little bit unconventional. Like previous to Prabhupada, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Swamijis, they never went, traveled beyond the seas. They were always confined, and they did not really go outside the world to preach. The preaching was very much confined. So Prabhupada did something that appeared, unconventional. And Prabhupada wore wristwatch. He used dictaphone. He even traveled in sometimes he required luxury cars. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Swami also traveled in some cars at that time. Then he used the best architecture in construction of temples. He used all the skills of the artists that was available. Everything he put in Krishna's service, because that is the real Yukta Vairagyam according to Prabhupada, and he proved it. So if we are able to dovetail our activities in Krishna's service, then automatically the activities get purified, and Yukta Vairagya is manifested. You are not attached to the activities, you are not attached to the results of the activities also. And this is what actually Prabhupada demonstrated. So he thrust to each and every followers of his followers to become a top class Brahmana, because Brahmana means somebody who abides by the scriptures. You know, Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yajan, Dana, Pratigra, all those things, starts manifesting. And you can see Prabhupada takes a car, he uses dictaphone, uses for traveling and all that. So everything should be for Yukta Vairagya. So when talking of Brahmana and making, sometimes he used to do even mock drills with his disciples. He will say that I will become an atheist. Now you people try to convince me as a Brahmana, try to convince me what is Krishna consciousness. Come on. And then Prabhupada would defeat them by giving the like a playing the devil's advocate and defeat them, very beautifully. And then they would say, Prabhupada, but you are an expert, but we are just new in bhakti. Then Prabhupada will say, okay, then let switch the tables. You become a devotee, you are not a devotee now, and I become a devotee and you become a devil's advocate and you become a atheist, because you are already, you are knowing that. Come on, now you try to defeat me. So there also they failed. Prabhupada won there also. So in this way, he encouraged people to, take up Yukta Vairagya and also become top Brahmana. Whatever activities we do, we perfect our activities. Whatever we do, it should be like a Brahmana. Okay. So there are many more things I wanted to say, but I would like to conclude now with just this one slide. And this slide, if it cannot move our, tears from our eyes, a tear should definitely come in our eyes at this point of time. Prabhupada once in Mayapur, you know, saw a beggar from his window. He was seeing, and he saw that a beggar was searching in the dustbin, in the garbage, for eating some food. And when Prabhupada saw that, he could not tolerate it anymore. He said that from today, okay, I announce that anybody within 5 kilometers of any temple that I construct will never go hungry. And that was the birth of Annakshetra devotees. Prabhupada's compassionate mood came out immediately, and that took the form of Annakshetra. So today, what we are enjoying as Krishna Prasadam, when we go to temple, is all because of this one incident that Prabhupada saw outside his window. And then wherever he travels, he is like a he himself is like a pure devotee, so he carries the pilgrimage place along with that, because he carries, he tells the world that wherever I'm now sitting in New York, the topmost place, the greatest city in the world, but my heart is always in Vrindavan. So he was carrying Vrindavan in his heart. His service was in New York, in the most fallen place, but his heart was always in Vrindavan. So with that mood, Bhaktivedanta Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Swantastena Gadabrita. That's how actually he went and completed his mission. I'm closing now because it's already well past 8:50. Thank you so much, dear Radha Govind Prabhu and Sushant Prabhu, for giving this opportunity to me. And I'm sorry I took slightly over time. And if I made any mistake, please forgive me. And if anybody else wants to also participate in glorification, please go ahead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for this very wonderful vacation pastimes of Srila. Thank you.
I'm not able to hear you, Prabhu, properly.
That's it. Who can read us?
Voice is breaking.
Yeah, essentially, Radha Govind Prabhuji was thanking you for your amazing presentation, and for same, I'm also going to do thank you from the core of my heart for such a vivid description, and that definitely deserved that much time. So you did not take extra time, Prabhuji. So let us then, after this amazing glorification by His grace, Shyam Prabhuji. Now I would love to invite other devotees also, uh, who might in their hearts be definitely concealing feelings for Srila Prabhupada ji. In what ways Srila Prabhupada ji changed their lives. We like to share that, and other transcendental properties or qualities of Srila Prabhupada ji. So please come forward, and if Shamchandra Prabhu wants, he may switch off his video. It's up to him. So please come forward. Let us invite one by one. So I can see many new names actually here. Anita Mataji. No response. Anjali Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Can you share some glorification?
Yes, Prabhuji. The presentation and what Prabhuji said was wonderful, and we will also try to follow what Prabhupada did, despite of all the difficulties. Now our problems are looking very small. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anusha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, to all devotees, with pranams. Any glorification after the class today would be like showing lamp in front of the sun, because Prabhupada as a sun has risen through the presentation and driven away all the deep dark ignorance, and has personally showed us how one should live. We didn't see Krishna, we didn't see Mahaprabhu, but Prabhuji through his presentation brought Prabhupada in front of our eyes, right from his minutest struggle to the untold stories. Everything was deeply moving and very life transforming and touching. Personally, what I admire in Srila Prabhupada is that he still guides us through his disciples and disciples of disciples. And whenever we listen to Prabhupada's lectures or his transcripts with respect to Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, he repeats things twice, to reiterate and to make us really understand. So that part really hammers us. For example, yesterday I was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, wherein Prabhupada was quoting illusion. So what is illusion? He doesn't move away from the topic without explaining it fully. Illusion is poor fund of knowledge, illusion is misconception, illusion is different reflective intellectual gymnastics, illusion is non-dependence on Lord and his energies is illusion. Illusion is so strong that it is very very difficult to get out of it. So even when he explains anything like ahai takui bhakti, automatically it will happen. So the way Prabhupada stresses and repeats things, and for everything, like a spiritual lawyer, he quotes Bhagavatam, just like the sun reveals himself. Actions of the Lord can be recognized only by the costless mercy of the Lord and his devotees, and Prabhuji made us understand that today. So whatever my realizations are, they are just a copy paste of whatever Prabhuji has spoken today in class. Very, very grateful for Bhaktivedanta Institute and all the other devotees, and especially His Grace Prabhuji for enlightening us. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. And yeah, amazing. This is really very inspiring, that when we hear devotees glorifying Srila Prabhupada ji and we be moved by such a dedicated, such a devotional presentation. And this is the idea of inspiring one another. This is the idea behind inspiring one another. Thank you. Now moving to the next devotee I can see here. Chintamani Sakhi Devi Dasi Mataji. Mataji, you want to come forward and share some glorification? Okay. How about I have to just read the full name. I can see the name here is P. Sakhi Rani Yasin Mataji.
Prabhu, are they able to unmute themselves?
Yeah, we haven't set
Okay.
today. We haven't disabled the unmuting option here. On a second thought, let me check it. Actually, I didn't do that today. I don't think so, Prabhu. They can unmute themselves. It's really very surprising that almost on every occasion like this, people don't have anything to share. So, Pratibha Mataji,
Prabhu, why don't you share now? Maybe you can
Hare
also share.
Krishna.
yeah, I'll definitely take a concise sharing later. Yeah, yeah,
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्णा मुझे कुछ नहीं कहना है हरे कृष्णा
Very good for that. Thank you. Radha Govind Prabhu, please, could you?
Hare Krishna, bro. My voice is clear.
Better, yeah,
Hello.
still breaking. Where are you? Are you in some low network zone?
I am traveling in the train. Maybe some background.
Okay. Continue speaking.
Yeah, that's I want to share that whenever I read this our book, PI book, Bhaktivedanta book, there I found that how Srila Prabhupada, at the same time, Srila Prabhupada was very much, we want to spread this our Krishna consciousness into the scientific circle. So that is great, great thing. And Prabhupada was very much merciful to the scientist as well. He want to because the scientists and these scholars, big scholars, they are sometimes very adamant to accept these things because they have their own philosophies. It's very hard also to convert them and to make them Krishna conscious. So Srila Prabhupada ji has this vision, and I sometimes think that at that time he has such a great vision, which is fructifying now. And because people are really because when I was in college, this the life comes from matter, and all these philosophies are very much prominent, and still they are prominent. So and until and unless we don't understand this life come from life, our problem will never be solved. And Srila Prabhupada, because many students doing suicide and doing all these things in the colleges. Why? Because they don't have this fundamental conception that life come from life. So I can understand how Srila Prabhupada ji and Sripad Maharaj, they have such a great vision to see these things. So that's what I want to share. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ramesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
can say in only one word that Srila Prabhupada ji can be recognized as a determination personified. At the age of 70, he could achieve so much, so many things, which we cannot dream at the age of 25. And all credits to Prabhuji for the wonderful discourse of today. It is an eye opener, I can say. I'm not even qualified to speak about such a big person. We are not even a drop of ocean as compared to a ocean, Prabhuji. That's all I can think of. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very humble words, definitely. Shri Sachi Mataji. Okay. So I'll speak now. While I'm speaking, if any one of you think that that you can speak, just please let me know. You can just so first of all, I'd like to thank everyone, especially Shamchan Prabhuji, for sharing such wonderful incidents related to Srila Prabhupada, and the glories of Srila Prabhupada definitely are limitless. And I am not even a drop. I don't know. I'm not even a molecule. But just wonder many times that Srila Prabhupada ji, who technically was not a scientist, not from a science background as much as Dr. T.D. Singh, I mean, Sripal Maharaj ji was. However, just look at the vision of Srila Prabhupada ji, how unlike other devotees or contemporary devotees and the devotees even present now, even the scientists also who do not, can even imagine that how science can be used, as a medium to glorify Krishna. And they very much, either look down upon scientists, and scientists also look down upon spirituality. So these things are going on. However, Srila Prabhupada ji, being a perfect devotee and visionary, he could envision that this is the age of science, and he's asking, Srila Prabhupada is asking Sripad Maharaj to go for it and prove scientifically that two things: that life comes from life, and second, God is a person. And Srila Prabhupada has established, I want you to establish that life comes from life, does not come from matter. So this is a visionary. This is an amazing vision which even great PhD scholars do not have. Great scientists also do not have, and and many times even devotees also give it a miss. So this is our, many times many people criticize Bhaktivedanta Institute for being too much with scientists, too bonding with scientists. But we are doing what exactly Srila Prabhupada instructed Sripad Maharaj to carry on, and that what exactly Srila Sripad himself did. So we are very convinced, and we are humbly we are trying to carry further this mission of Srila Prabhupada ji. This is personally speaking, I'll have to share that it was Srila Prabhupada ji only who came to me in the form of one of his book. I did not buy that book. That book was bought by one of my BTech mates in IT days, and the book was simply lying in his room. And I went to the room, I picked the book, and at that time I was having fever, so I thought, let me read this book out. And I read the book, and I finished the book in some 15-20 minutes. But the Sushant before reading the book and Sushant after reading the book, they were completely different persons. I cannot, I don't know if I can share the feelings I was going through. So this is how Srila Prabhupada ji, as Prabhuji has rightly pointed out, as a grandfather, has cherished me, has taken me into his lab. And for that, I personally will be eternally indebted to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ho. Jai. So, Shyam Chandra Prabhuji, concluding words, please.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much. Very nice offering by you also, and also by Radha Govind Prabhu, and the rest of the people who spoke. They spoke very nicely, very humbly, and Srila Prabhupada really, we pray that, may the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, fall upon us on this very auspicious day, and maybe it's a day to take certain vows. We can always, when when such great personalities appear or they disappear, then that's a time when we can always think about what vows we can take. So for me personally, I would think that my vows would be like, did I chant my desired committed rounds attentively Now, did I commit any Vaishnava aparad? Did I read Srila Prabhupada's and Guru Maharaj's books? Did I do anything to displease my spiritual master? Did any of my activities were performed for my own satisfaction, that is satisfaction of my senses, and not for the satisfaction of Sri Guru and higher ups up to Krishna? So these are some of the meditations that can be done, and I'm sure Srila Prabhupada will grant our desires and wishes. And that's all, Prabhu. I didn't want to say something, more than this. And we just beg and pray for His mercy. Srila Prabhupada 129th Avirbhav Mahamotsav ki Jai.
Jai Ho,
Srila
Jai Ho,
Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai Ho.
Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari B.I. Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Thank you
Jai
very much, Prabhuji. Thank you, B.I. Institute, for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
I too witnessed that tussle between the Islamic scholar and the Jews. They are in Rome conference.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah, we both were there. Yeah,
How they were pacified by Shripad Maharaj.
yeah.
Amazing chant of Vasudev.
Wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, thank you.
So,
Hare Krishna. I'll end the call, Prabhu, because I was a host.
Shyam Chandra Prabhu ki Jai Ho. Yeah, Prabhu, please.
Sripad Maharaj ki, thank you.
Jai Ho.